Good day, my friends. Welcome back for another edition of our leadership training series. Today we're going to pivot just a little bit and we're going to talk about an incredible study at Harvard and a book called The Happiness Advantage. The study at Harvard was conducted by a gentleman by the name of Shawn Achor. I would encourage you right after you watch this video to go onto YouTube. There's a TED Talk where Shawn Achor presents some of his initial findings. It's about 15 or 20 minutes long, but it's well worth your time to kind of check that out. If you have an opportunity, get the book, read the book as well. I'm going to talk a little bit about the general concept of that here, and then in future videos I'm going to talk about a couple of the main key ingredients to the happiness advantage and what that study showed. Basically what the study talks about is, or reviewed is, what is the impact on our productivity, on our ability to correctly do projects, what's the impact on our lives when you compare somebody who has a outlook or perspective of a positive nature versus someone who has a neutral perspective of life, a neutral outlook of life, or even a negative outlook on life. So what the studies initially found was that when people conditioned their brains to have a positive outlook on life, right? There was a 31% increase in productivity. In the sales department, sales people had, if they had a positive outlook versus a negative outlook, or even a neutral outlook, the positive outlook individuals had a 37% increase in sales. And this last one I find really fascinating. Doctors, medical professionals who had a positive versus a neutral and or negative outlook on life. Typically, you would see a 19% increase in correctly diagnosing a patient the first time. That's fascinating. That's absolutely fascinating. So how does that come about? What is this happiness advantage? Well, there's some key elements in the book, and there are some key elements that we'll talk about here about how we can condition our brain to have a more positive outlook. Now, we're not talking about going blindly into the world and just thinking everything's positive. We have to deal with real life, of course, but how do we look at challenges? How do we look at stress from a position of positivity, or quickly shift from I'm stressed into a more positive outlook on life and being able to overcome some pretty big challenges sometimes that we have. So that's what we're going to talk about here as well. I can tell you from my own perspective of installing a couple of these routines really made a big difference in when I was leading a team, how I engaged with the team, how I interacted with information and updates and policy changes and procedures, and just how I overall connected with the team. So there is some real world experiences that I can share about the impact of the happiness advantage and how that might benefit you. I also saw dramatic increases in better relationships with family and friends as I shifted as well. Ironically, it also allowed me to set up some new boundaries. So for individuals who just could not get there and were really focused in on the negativity parts of life, it helped me manage those things a little bit better. So we're going to spend a little bit of time. We're going to have a couple of videos that we're going to talk about some of that training and some of those things, so that maybe you can so you can have that outlook in your own life and see what changes that you may want to make in towards your leadership and towards your relationships with either your professional relationships or your personal relationships. So that's it. That's what we're going to dive into. But your homework for today, if you dare try, is go look up that YouTube TED Talk with Shawn Achor, The Happiness Advantage. Encourage you to take a moment and review that. And then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more. Thanks so much, my friends. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.